Hey y'all, it's Bailey with Reclaim Grace. I'm so happy you clicked on this video. We are making over a little bit of everything. We got a 2-drawer mini dresser, a metal bread box, some candlesticks, some picture frames, a little bit of everything going on in this video. Y'all let me know which one is your favorite and we're gonna get started right now. I hope y'all are doing well today. Our first project is this 2-drawer mini dresser I picked up from a yard sale for $2. It was quite dusty, so I'm using my large brush to get the dust out of that top detail, and then a rag and some Windex to get this dresser cleaned up. I thought I wanted this green, but you'll see in a little bit I do change my mind, so I'm going to speed through this process pretty quick. I want to leave the center of the 2 drawers natural and that top detail, I don't want to paint it. So I'm going to go ahead and slap a coat of paint on everything else. I did 2 coats of paint of the green color, and now I'm coming in with an all-in-one paint just in a taupe color. I misted the top of the dresser very well just to get the area wet, and we're going to do a paint wash using a paintbrush with a light amount of paint on it, working it into those details. And once I get it applied, I'm going to quickly go over it with a dry paper towel to pull back some of that paint. And this really took down the orange hues that I wasn't really liking. I did the same thing with the 2 mini drawers, just misted the area well and then went in with a small brush and worked that paint into all those small crevices and areas, and then I would wipe back the excess. So about here I decided I just do not like the green. I wanted to put transfers on the side right here, and I don't know, I just was not liking it, so I shifted gears and we're going to make this a more neutral piece. This is a kind of khaki color by Fusion. It's called Algonquin. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm horrible pronouncing these names, y'all. But I'm just going to go right over the green. I had to do 2 coats all over, and then I let the piece thoroughly dry. Now, I think this suits the mini dresser so much better. Did y'all like the green color? Let me know down in the comments. I just wasn't really feeling it, so I'm super glad I listened to my gut and changed gears. Sometimes you just got to do that. So now I'm going to grab some transfers from Katharina IOD transfer book. I picked out these 2 yellow florals, and I'm going to transfer them one on each side. I like to press all over at first and then kind of pick an edge and start peeling and rubbing at the same time. It makes the transfer lift up a whole lot easier. Once I get it down, I'm going to use my fingers to rub all over it well. This is called burnishing. It just means make sure there's no air bubbles and that everything has made good contact with the surface. I flipped it over and applied the second transfer on the opposite side the same way. Then I grabbed this transfer. There's actually 2 of these in that transfer book, and I placed one on each front side where you see me applying it right now, one on the left and one on the right. Transfers bend very well, so you can wrap them around a piece, and it really makes your project look more elevated when I seem to do that. I don't know, I like it better when the transfer wraps around an object. So I did seal it with some Dixie Belt flat clear coat, and y'all, this was a simple project, but I love how it came out. It's definitely an upgrade. I priced it for $22.95. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this makeover. Our next project is this metal bread box. That's Roscoe's sign beside me. Like, nobody sighs louder than a unemployed dog that lays around all day. Am I right? We're gonna get this bread box cleaned up. My mama actually gave me this, so it was free. Had some stickers or something on the front, so I'm just gonna scrape those off and give everything a really, really good wipe down, and then get rid of these old crusty things on the bottom. Before we add any paint, I'm going to scuff sand the surface all over. This is just some 220 sandpaper. I'm going to get rid of some of the chipping paint around those hinges, and there was some rust on the inside that I needed to sand down. This will make our primer stick very well. The primer I'm going to be using is Rust-Oleum Enamel Spray Paint. This is in flat black. I'm going to be spray painting a couple layers on the inside of our bread box. That will be staying black, but I'm going to go ahead and prime the rest of the bread box as well. I like using this Rust-Oleum enamel spray paint because it dries within 15 minutes, so that's just a bonus. Once I get that primed, I'm going to actually mix some milk paint here. I'm going to do a scoop of Birdie and a scoop of O Olive. Running short on O Olive, so I'm just experimenting a little bit, and I'm going to do 2 scoops of water. Mix that up very well, and I'll let it sit to the side and thicken for about 10 to 15 minutes. As you can see, I did remove the little knob on the front of the bread box. I'm going to be leaving that in the flat black. Also going to be leaving the inside in that flat black. So I did go ahead and spray a clear sealer just to protect that. And now I'm coming in and applying our first layer of milk paint. I'm going to apply it all over, trying to keep my brush strokes going in one direction. And when I am painting around that hinge, I'm trying my best not to pull up the paint there so the hinge will work properly. I'm going to paint this little edge on the left and right side of the bread box, and also that bottom edge, just very carefully cutting that in, trying not to get any drips on the inside on the black paint. I'm going to flip it over and give the bottom a few good coats as well. Here is what it's looking like after that first coat is on and dry. So as you can see, the coverage is not that great, but milk paint, it really adheres to that first coat, and you will get a lot better coverage coming in with that second coat. I did go ahead and apply 3 coats to the bread box, and as normal, I'm drying in between each coat with my heat gun. Let that sit to the side and dry, and now I've brought out my IOD stamps. This is typesetting. This one has been used and abused, so the sticky is no longer sticky. It will not stick to a thin mount. So I'm going to use Ginger Chick Rehab's little technique by taking some packing tape, lining up my letters using my thin mount, but actually picking the letters up with the packing tape. Y'all, this worked like a charm going on a curved surface. I'm going to use my IOD black ink just to ink up the back of my letters, making sure I don't press too hard so I don't get any ink on the stamp. Now I'm going to very carefully center that, line it up where I want it. I'm going to take my thumbs and press down the ends on the tape, and then I'm just going to go letter by letter, holding with one hand and pressing with the other. This is in real time here. I'm really taking my time, making sure this doesn't shift and that the stamp has made good impressions, and then I'm just going to peel back the tape, and y'all, that's a pretty good impression if you ask me. I wanted a few more words on this, so I brought out Letterpress by IOD using that same packing tape as a way to pick up my letters on black IOD permanent ink on the back of the stamps. And then I'm going to center this the best I can, press that tape down, and then rub over the letters, and then pick the stamp straight up. Here is how we are looking so far. Look at that gorgeous crackle on top. We did get a little bit of chipping too, but now it's time to seal in the milk paint. I'm going to be using Sweet Pickins Dark Oil Wax. Make sure you shake that container up very well before you use it. I just like to pour it on the surface and then spread it around with a chip brush that I don't mind throwing away whenever I'm done. It's a lot easier just to throw the paintbrush away than to clean it, in my opinion. But I'm just going to spread this around evenly over the entire surface. And I'm even going to put this on the inside because this product is food safe. I let the oil wax sit on the surface for about 10 minutes to soak into that milk paint, and now I'm just going to wipe any excess off with a few blue shop towels. Now, all we need to do is add our knob back on the front of our bread box, just putting the screw through the hole and tighten that down, and this project is done. I love how this one came out. It was free to me, so I'm going to price it for $29.95. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this one. I love how this crackle turned out. I'm throwing in this next project. These are a set of really detail-oriented candlesticks I picked up for $5 at a church rummage sale. I had some leftover milk paint and I did not want it to go to waste, so I'm just going to slap a few coats on these candlesticks. Really getting it into those details, drying in between coats with my heat gun like I usually do, and it did take about 2.5 coats to get the coverage I was looking for. These crackled, oh my god, so gorgeously. Got a little bit of chipping going on right here, but not much. I'm going to seal these the same way I did our last project using the Sweet Pickins Dark Oil Wax, dumping it on the project, spreading it around, and letting it sit on the surface for about 10 minutes. Wiping all that excess oil back, and these are done. I priced these for $30 for the set. Y'all let me know what y'all think about these candlesticks. Our last two projects, both are frames. This is the first frame we're making over. A friend picked this up for me, this frame and or no, it ain't the other frame. But either way, she picked up this frame for me. She got two frames for $5, so about $2.50. As you can see, it was some kind of a press board, like you can put pins and notes on it. So that had to go. I broke my frame trying to get this out. So now we got to fix it. I'm just going to squirt some quick and thick glue in that crack and then press it together very well. Wipe off the excess glue, and I let it sit for about 24 hours to dry thoroughly. cut out a piece of 1/4-inch plywood to fit in our frame, and I have this gorgeous floral bunny print from Temu, of course. I'm going to use Mod Podge and my brayer to attach it. Here's what it looks like after I get it sealed up. I like to have my brush strokes irregular like that. And now we're jumping back over to the frame. These polka dots had to go. They were raised, so I'm going to quickly go over them with some sandpaper until I can no longer feel them. I'm going to base coat our frame with black velvet DIY clay-based paint. This has really good coverage, so it only took one coat. I'm going to use a pouncing method so we can get a little bit of texture going on. I pounced all over this frame until we had it fully covered. Once I gave that black paint time to dry, now I'm coming in with some of Fusion's metallic paint. This is bronze, and I'm going to use a stencil brush to pounce over our first layer of paint all over, but I'm not really caring if some of that black peeks through. This product does have like extremely good coverage, so if I wanted to stop after applying this first coat, I definitely could, but I decided this was a little too dark of a gold color for me, so I gave this coat time to dry, and then I'm going to come in with a different metallic paint. I'm going to switch over to Vintage Gold. This is just a little bit lighter, and I felt like it matched the print a little bit, but I don't want to hide all the bronze. So I'm going to lightly go over the frame just with a pretty heavy dry brush, letting some of that bronze peek through as well as some of the black base coat. Now I'm going to come in with Fusion's Agent Wax. Y'all, I know I wear this Agent Wax out, but I love it. It's so buttery and creamy, and I just love using this product on top of everything pretty much. I'm going to apply it over the entire frame and then come in with a blue shop towel and buff off some of the excess, leaving the wax down in the details. Now we're going to add our print. I'm going to use probably one of my favorite Amazon tools I've ever ordered from Amazon. This little framing gun to attach the back. I did add a piece of contractor's paper and a hanging system. Other than that, this project is done. I priced it for $45. I think bunnies can definitely go into the summer season. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this project. Our next project, we're starting off with the trimmings for a mold. We're going to be pouring several or casting several of the larger trimming design. I'm going to use up some old resin. I really needed to just get used up, and this resin works as a equal parts. You do equal parts A. So I did 1 scoop of A and 1 scoop of B. I mix it for about 30 seconds, and then I'm going to pour it into the mold. I'm going to use my little stirring stick to make sure the resin flows into all the little details along the side and edge of the mold, and then this sits up for in about 10 minutes and you can just peel it out. I did get some breakage on this one, and I think it's because, like I said, my resin's old, so I'm just going to put those pieces to the side and I can glue them back on later. I did this process about 6 times, so I would have enough to go around this thick frame. I'm showing you my kind of layout here. We need to cut 45-degree angles so this would meet up nicely on the edges, and I'm about to show y'all how I do that. So I have my miter saw set to 45 degrees, and I have a piece of 1/2-inch plywood, and I'm going to make a cut, but not cutting all the way through the board. This is a good jig to cut resin on, so it's more safe and the resin doesn't go flying everywhere. So I'm going to line up my corners and then very slowly cut the 45-degree angle. I'm holding it tightly. And yeah, it's just that easy. I'm going to grab the other meeting angle, which you have to flip upside down, so you don't have to move your miter saw to the opposite 45-degree angle, if that makes sense. So now back over to our frame, I'm going to line these two corners up, put that little piece that fell off earlier up there, and now I'm going to interlock these two castings so I can mark the angles here with a lead pencil so I know exactly where to cut. So now we're going to start disassembling this frame. I did pick this one up from Salvation Army for $1.99. The thickness of the frame got me. I knew I could add the trimmings for, so I was a sucker for this frame when I seen it. I'm going to take off the backing, remove these staples so we can remove that center part, and now we're going to start gluing our molds down. I'm going to get everything laid into place first, and as you can see on that right side, it's going to have a little bit of weirdness, but it's all going to blend in towards the end. Just looks a little funny right now. I'm going to use my Titebond Quick and Thick to apply our castings, and I wish I would have heat this one up first with my heat gun to make it more pliable, but I did that on the other ones. This just makes them a little bit flimsy so all edges can make good contacts. I'm going to use clamps and tape to hold the casting down as the glue dries. I let that glue set up for about 24 hours. I removed that tape. Here I made a mess. I was trying to stir it by shaking it. Bad call. Gonna redo that. I'm gonna start applying a base layer of black. This is Coal Black by Fusion. I'm using a pointed paintbrush. This will help us get into all that gorgeous details from this trimmings mold. This took a while to paint because you're trying to make sure you're covering up all that white casting resin, but I only needed to apply one coat because this is just a base layer. Next, we're going to come in with that same vintage gold metallic paint by Fusion. I'm using a chip brush, and we're going to do one coat of the metallic paint all over our frame. As like before, I'm letting some of that black paint peek through. This will give us an antique look on the end, and it's going to match very well with our design. So here is the mirror that came with our frame. We're going to give it a good clean because I want this piece, the artwork, to be reversible. So when the person doesn't want the actual artwork to be in the frame, they can just flip it over and it can be a small mirror instead. So I'm going to get that cleaned up, and then I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to be applying this White Rabbit Temu print. That's the back of my mirror. I'm going to use Mod Podge, same technique as always, cut off the excess, and now, there's me, hello, and now we're going to put this inside of our frame. I'm going to put this other little piece in there once I get my fingerprints off the mirror, and I'm going to use my framing staple to put a few staples in to secure the artwork inside. Now I put a piece of contractor's paper on the back. I ran glue along this edge and the inner edge. And then I took my X-Acto knife and just made these 3 cuts, folded that back so the center can be changed out and reversed easily. And I put a piece of tape to hold that contractor's paper down. Now, I forgot to flip it over and show y'all the project with the mirror on the facing us. So that's a bummer, but I still love how this project came out. I priced it for $45. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this one. And that is all I have for y'all today, my friends. I really hope y'all enjoyed these projects. If you did, hit that like button. Let me know which is your favorite down in the comments. And if you got any inspiration from today's video, consider subscribing if you have not already. Thank y'all. I'll talk to y'all down in the comments. Bye.